So we're here to celebrate 150 years of continuous operations and maintenance of Levee District 1. Our first speaker, who needs no introduction in the flood control community, he served on Levee District 1's board for 50 plus years, and he resides as the chairman today, Francis Silva.
I actually don't have any speech because I didn't know whether I'd make the 150 years. But I'd like to say something about the people of Sutter County. They're the ones that's kept us here for the 150 years. They paid the taxes, they supported us, and many years have gone by. And I came on the board in 1964, and we didn't pass an assessment until 1986. And then we went from 86 to 99 before we passed the second one. And we've been operating on that particular amount for 1 years or whatever.
I want to also thank my mentor, Fran Silva. Fran's taught me more about these levees than you ever want to know. I still learn from him every day. Point out that of this 150 years, about almost 100 of it, he's been here in Sutter County. So he told me he wasn't at the first meeting of the district, but I'm not sure. You know, my motivation for doing this, my grandfather, Pierre Montanet, aka Pierre Montanet, aka P. Rye Montana, you know, his Fresno scrapers helped build some of the first levees. He came into this county.
I think it's important to point out where this all began. So on March 25th of 1868, California's 10th governor, Henry Huntley Height, signed a bill which authorized and required Sutter County Board of Supervisors to protect certain lands in the county from overflow by the establishment of a new local government agency, Levee District 1, which would become the first levee district in California established to provide flood control at public expense for region-wide benefit. So with that, we'd like to introduce from the current Sutter County Board of Supervisors, Vice Chairman Matt Conant.
1868 was the end of the Civil War. That's a long time ago. So I'm just going to read this resolution passed by the Board of Supervisors. Levee District 1, California longest continuous operating levee district. Whereas approximately 5,000 Sutter County residents who lived and farmed alongside the Feather River in the 1860s were tormented by recurring floodwaters that sometimes stretched from Marysville to Colusa or wider. And whereas seeking to reduce the risk of flood, Sutter County Board of Supervisors applied to California legislature to allow Sutter County to create the first levee district in California, and Governor Henry Hyatt signed this legislation into law on March 25th, 1868. And whereas Sutter County Board of Supervisors created Levee District 1 on March 30th, 1868, and the property owners agreed to tax themselves to support the district, a vote of 159 to 137 on April 13th, 1868. And whereas April 17th, 1868, members of the Board of Supervisors accomplished with Sutter County surveyor John Pennington as he mapped the location for the first levee on the west bank of the Feather River, averaging 5.5 feet tall. The height began at a point 2.5 miles from the center of Yuba City and stretched more than 17 miles to the south, to be constructed at a cost of $36,800. And whereas the construction of the levee in the summer marked the first time anyone in Sacramento Valley attempted to reduce flood risk for an entire region rather than just a city, and set off similar efforts throughout the Sacramento Valley. And whereas Levee District 1 has been managed by board members elected by the owners of the property protected by its levee system, and made improvements over the years that have reduced flood risk from tens of thousands of residents and billions of dollars of property. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sutter County Board of Supervisors recognizes Levee District 1, California's oldest continuous operating levee district, for its historic flood risk reduction efforts, and cause the names of each of the members to be affixed to the gold resolution as evidence of the board's individual and collective appreciation for 150 years of dedicated service to the Sutter County, adopted on the 9th of October 2018 and signed by all 5 board members. I just think it's truly amazing that we're approximately $300 million we're spending now, but the taxpayers in those days did it for $36,800. Of course, a levee of 5.5 feet tall doesn't quite equal 40 feet, but it is truly amazing to me that the district is in such good hands and done so well for 150 years. Congratulations to all.
So the real story about Francis Silva. Francis was raised by a pack of wolves. And 151 years ago, that wolf pack was told, bring Francis to the top of Southview. And it was the voice of God that was telling that wolf pack to bring him up there. And they gave him this message: go and build. And he did. He'll never tell you how old he really is, because he's well preserved and is a fabric of our community and somebody that has purposefully tried to protect our side of the river, and through his efforts, it's been amazing. And the citizens of Yuba City are very appreciative, not only of the 150 years that LD1 has been in operation, but all of the support that the citizens on this side have gotten.
It's my honor to represent the Flood Board to acknowledge the distinction of Levee District 1. President Bill would congratulate you, as we do, on your sesquip 150 years. And commend you for your amazing work over the years. It's not just longevity of this district, but longevity of amazing leadership and effort and work to protect the lives and property of people of this fine region, and to do that with the respect for and the trust of the landowners and the voters. That's a remarkable accomplishment. As Mr. Stresser said, this district was the first to be formed by statute of the state of California, which set in motion, of course, a requirement to local government, Board of Supervisors, to establish a vote. And that is the tradition of all local districts, to have a vote of those whom they represent to see if they would wish to acknowledge and support that. So it wasn't a strong yes vote, but it did pass. And that set the legacy of this district to earn trust and to work hard. Today, Levee District 1 protects a population of more than 70,000 residents and over $7 billion of valuable property and real property assets. And as has been stated, partnered with and was part of the formation of the Sutter Flood Control Agency, which strengthened the whole region and recognized that when there are partnerships and working together, we each build upon the success of each other.
And we have here today an example of a generation that stepped forward, in this case some 50 plus years ago, said we have a problem, we need to improve the levees. Basically, as a result of what happened with these photos here, the flood of 55. 55.
Something I need to tell you.
Well, then tell us.
You know what makes a good director and a good citizen? When you get your ass flooded in the 55.
And it's good, you know, we need to talk about the history and to continue to share the stories, because really it is a legacy. It's a great legacy of our community that we were the very first levee district that was formed in the state. And I love hearing about that history. I wanted to point out, it also shows we have an election coming up. Every vote counts, right? Because that thing was pretty close back in 1868. And if few people didn't show up for whatever reason, we might not have had District Number 1. It might have never happened.
I'll be real brief. I just want to point out that Sacramento Valley Flood Control, since this is a history lesson, Sacramento Valley Flood Control started not far from where we're standing right here. In his authoritative book, Battling the MMC, Robert Kelly describes in great detail the flood fights at Gil Sizer Slough, many of you are familiar with, right in downtown. I think he spends most of the chapter on it. And as a measure of LD1's importance and relevance, they were back at it 150 years later, in 2017. Many of you remember that, playing a key role in the flood fight to keep that levee together. In all of the chaos and noise and media associated with the Orville disaster in 2017, not many people know, LD1 knows, that was the real risk, right in downtown Yuba City, a mundane levee failure, very similar to what potentially could have happened as in 1955. So Sabufka owes a great debt of gratitude to this board, to Levee District 1, to this community, as one of the founding members of the agency way back in 2007.